This Sun-Gazette video coverage is proudly sponsored by Woodlands Bank.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Sports Talk. We're going to get into Week 6 action here. A lot of really good, interesting games on the schedule here. Let's start out though right away with the old shoe game this year, Muncie at Montgomery. I think this is one of the more interesting old shoe matchups in recent years because a lot of those last few have been kind of lopsided, but this is one that going in that really either team you can say has a solid chance to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, Muncie's controlled this thing for a while. Montgomery, I think they've only won one time since 2004. It was 2017. But I think this is as evenly matched as these teams have been in a long time. In one spectrum, we talked about how well Montgomery's defense has been playing, and Muncie's offense has been, the epitome of explosive. They're averaging 47.4 points a game. They've got all sorts of weapons, so something's got to give there. It's going to be fun. These two teams get up for each other, obviously. It's going to be a fun rivalry game. I imagine it's going to be a packed stadium, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And the way, things could change, but right now they're 2 and 3 in the district standings, so they would, if the season was over now, they would meet in the semifinals too. So this could be the first of two really good games between them this year.
Yeah, if you're a fan of watching or fan of running backs, watching good running backs, play. You've got Austin Johnson and Landon Wammer on Muncie's side, and then Coy Bryson on the other side. And I think both they should all be impactful. It should be fun.
I was going to say I feel like they kind of mirror each other in a bit because you have like Bryson and Johnson, both players that can break the game open on the ground, but then defensively they both can play well in trying to limit what the other team does. So it's in a lot of ways they're kind of a mirror of one another.
Yeah, I think Muncie's defense gets overlooked because they've been in 4 straight blowouts. So some of these games, like Sarah and Cal Valley, you might look at the point totals and go, they gave up some points, but it's all the backups.
Exactly.
The starters have been pretty dominant. They've only given up 1 touchdown in 4 weeks. So yeah, they probably are a little bit mirror reflections. I think Muncie has a little bit more explosiveness offensively, but Montgomery could have an edge defensively. It's hard to tell because this will be a great barometer for where Muncie's at, I think, because I saw him against Warrior Run, and that was a great game. And these last 4 weeks, they've steamrolled teams, but they haven't really been challenged, and this is going to be their first test since then. So I'm really curious to see how both these teams stack up.
I'd argue Montgomery's been a bit more battle-tested since outside of Muncie's Warrior Run game with matchups against a solid YU losing squad, and then Canton, of course.
Yep, exactly.
And I think from Montgomery's perspective, the Canton win was huge because I think just psychologically, they know they can beat one of the big boys now. Canton and Muncie have combined to win the last 6 district championships, South last year. Before that, they had won the last 6 district titles. So, I think now they believe now. I think when you're trying to change the culture of a program, the mental aspect is huge. And now that they beat Canton, they know they can beat some of these big boys out there, so I think that's huge too.
And I was going to add to that. If Montgomery can get and beat Muncie too this week to have back-to-back wins against Canton, Muncie, I think that gives them a huge boost going forward.
That would be monstrous for them.
Yeah, arguably Montgomery's biggest test of the season. I'm trying to think who they'd have after that. I imagine they play South.
Yeah, they have South in Week 9. I can't remember who else they play, but yeah, I think their schedule is set up kind of favorably down the stretch.
This is going to be a tough one, too, in terms of our picks, which I'm right behind you after last week, man.
This guy he was one game behind me going into week 14 and 16. This way I gained, I gained 10 on you again. So
it's right where I want you moving forward.
I didn't do much better. I think I went 17 and 13, which I was
25 and 5 for the record.
Yeah, very unpleasantly surprised. I thought I did a lot better.
The cream always rises to the top, and the cream has started to rise already.
I had higher hopes for this season, I'll be real.
Williamsport at Jersey Shore. I think for Williamsport, they're going into this one thinking everyone thinks Shore's going to steamroll us. And I think for Williamsport, they want to try to come out and make some sort of statement that they're not just going to let Jersey Shore, be typically Jersey Shore and just roll over a team.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to be motivated. They showed they can hang with one of the district's best against Selinsgrove. I think they want to prove that they can beat one of the district's best now. And this is a fascinating matchup. They haven't. I don't even know the last time Jersey Shore Williamsport played. My guess is the 70s. But I think this is what, especially when Jersey Shore started to get really good. A lot of people said, how would they stack up against Williamsport? Now we're going to find out. Yeah. And I think both teams are going to be motivated. I think Tom Gravish always keeps Jersey Shore humbled and level-headed, so I'm sure they probably have something. They probably want to prove something against a 6A school, so I think there's going to be motivation on both sides, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I think you mentioned. I don't know if it was attaining to Williamsport, but you mentioned defense travels. They're they're facing Shore on the road, but I think that they been a little bit against Selinsgrove, gave up 14 points in the fourth quarter, but 7 through the first 3. I think that could play a very big role in how this plays out.
Obviously you covered them, Henry, last week, Williamsport. What would you say, from their defensive point, what would you say is their biggest, strength on their defense? I mean,
I'd give a lot of credit to their secondary because I feel like Selinsgrove. They've got a freshman or sophomore quarterback, so maybe that was always a part of the game plan. But they were trying to throw the ball early, threw the ball 5 times in the first half, and then never threw the ball again. They were Kyrie Bradshaw and Aiden Everett were hawks. Bradshaw had multiple pass breakups, and Everett had one. So I'd give a lot of credit to the secondary, which could play a big role against Shore, who their strength has been passing lately.
Yeah. Yep.
It'll be Williamsport's going to have to be disciplined defensively too, because Elijah Jordan is such a mobile threat that he could drop back to pass, and if he doesn't see something he likes, you got to make sure you're keeping containment, because he can get out there and run and make a lot of things happen there. So it presents. Jersey Shore, with what they can do passing and running, presents a lot of problems, but then just having that dual threat quarterback gives Williamsport something else to think about, and they're going to have to be just really disciplined in how they approach attacking them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Lucas Naughton could play a big role in containing Elijah Jordan. I want to say he still leads the team in tackles.
Yeah, he's having a monster season. Yeah. He's right around 13 tackles a game, which is pretty impressive. And now, as I said earlier, in the first segment, having Jamel Bailey back helps out a lot, and Anthony Manley's having a really good year. So they've got a lot of playmakers on defense. Jersey Shore's got a lot of playmakers on offense, so it's going to be a lot of fun to see how they stack up against each other.
Yeah, I want to say Jamel Bailey had a sack in last game, but I could be I'm misthinking. I know Cordoza Minor had one, so could play a role as well, that pass rush.
Yeah, and that'll be key too.
Obviously Jersey Shore, they have a packed stadium pretty much any game when they're home, but with Williamsport coming right down the road, I think if fans want to go to this one, you need to get there pretty early if you want to get a seat, because I think that's going to be a full house.
Yeah, I think this was when it was announced Williamsport was joining the HAC 1. I think that was, a lot of people thought right away, Williamsport is going to play Jersey Shore. That's going to be a lot of fun, and now. Both teams are having really good seasons, so that just tightens it up even more. So, I usually get there early anyway, but I might get there earlier than usual this time.
Another big game on the schedule. A lot of good games this week.
Yeah, this is one of those weeks I wish
you could be in a few places.
Yeah, they should stay. They should cater to my needs and say, let's go to a neutral field and play a triple header to accommodate Doc Massey. That would be glorious.
Loyalsock making the trip to Lewisburg, another good one there. Loyalsock 4-1, I believe, and Lewisburg obviously undefeated. I think Lewisburg his defense has been playing well, like we said. I mean, last week they played great. I think obviously they're going to have to focus on Loyalsock. I think obviously they can throw it and they can run it. So I think they're going to be. It's another tough test for Lewisburg's defense coming off that Warrior run game.
Yeah, and I think Loyalsock's probably a little better up front than Warrior run, but I think Warrior run has maybe a more diverse offense. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I think Loyalsock's ability to run the ball gives Lewisburg something else to think about coming into this one. Warrior run hasn't run the ball as effectively, so it's similar in a way, but it's also different in a way. And for Loyalsock, I think Loyalsock's going to be pretty motivated for this one. I think they have a chip on their shoulder just because I think they know a lot of people probably said at the beginning of the year they're not going to be as good as they were because they lost so much. But here they are, 4-1, going to play a state-ranked team. I think they're going to want to try to, put their stake in the ground, say we're still pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I want to say, I honestly couldn't find it, but I want to say it's been a while since Lewisburg has won that matchup. I don't know if you happen to know.
And it has been a long time. I'd have to go back and think about that.
Because I went
probably
through,
maybe 2012 or so.
Yeah.
Now they haven't played every year since then.
Yeah,
but it's been a while.
Yeah, they've been matching up more recently, and those Loyalsock teams have been incredibly strong.
Yeah.
So very interested to see what Lewisburg's run defense does against Harmon, and then Loyalsock's defense the other way around against Davis.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'll be interesting to see if Davis can make it 10 straight 100-yard games going back to last year, and that's obviously focal point of Lewisburg's offense. I'm assuming is going to be give it to Jeremiah. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to get his touches, but the way that passing game is developed, I think it sets up a lot of play action, and They don't have to, go out and throw for 300 yards a game or anything like that. But what they're doing right now is what they need to do. They're keeping teams on their heels a little bit because Jalen Walker's gone off the last 3 weeks, and Nick Coleman's having a good season, and Wenrick's throwing the ball better. So they know that Jeremiah is their bell cow, but they also do enough to where Loyalsock's can't just load up the box every time and think that's going to pay off. Lewisburg has different ways to attack them.
Yeah, I mean, Loyalsock, they're going to have a harder time making this team one-dimensional than they did against Hughesville a few weeks ago. So I'm interested to see what Winrick can do there.
Mm-hmm. South Williamsport at Kawaneski Valley. Matthew, what do you think is kind of the biggest key in this game between these two?
I think South just has to get a different, totally 180-degree turn from where Wyalusing just literally runs the ball every time to where Cal Valley, kind of throws it a lot. So I think they're going to have to play pretty good pass coverage against Cal Valley and try to get pressure on the quarterback because Graham Hess is, nearing a second 1,000-yard season, and Dave Hess is averaging around close to 30 yards a catch. So their secondary is going to be on their heels. They're definitely, from a pass coverage standpoint, the corners are going to have a lot more fun, I think, this week because they'll actually get to cover some people instead of, Wyalusing. You can just go John Madden 11-man punt rush against Wyalusing. Yeah. They're not throwing the football. So a completely different game this week.
Yeah, I mean, just keep composed and build off the momentum they garnered from that Wyalusing win. I know they had they started 1-3, but I mean they have a very strong chance to turn that around and end up 500 here.
Yeah. Montoursville makes a trip down to Central Columbia. I think obviously if you're Montoursville, you want to shake off that Mount Carmel loss and just try and focus this week and kind of get that rebound win.
Yeah, definitely. And Montoursville still in the top four in AAA, so they stay within in that top four. They get a home playoff game, so they definitely want to keep doing that. And I think they want to get their offense going again, but they want to get everything going again. The defense was great the first 2 weeks. It's kind of struggled the last 3 weeks, so I think they want to they definitely want to improve their secondary. The running game or the running defense has been a lot better than the secondary coverage, so they want to work on that. and just kind of want to reestablish their identity offensively, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think these next two games against Central Columbia and Central Mountain are very important considering the last three games they have. I want to say they play Lewisburg, Laurel Sauk, and I don't. Do you know what the third one would be? Danville, maybe. No. They already played Danville. Yeah,
they do have three tough games to close. I can't remember the third one.
So just reestablishing that momentum ahead of that tough stretch to end, and then maybe they're able to use that momentum to pick up a big win before the playoffs.
Speaking of Mount Carmel, they host Hughesville this week. Obviously, it's tough for Hughesville to go, and tough for anyone to go into Mount Carmel and win. I think Hughesville has some confidence so that they can throw the ball. But I mean, obviously, against the Red Tornadoes, you're in for a long game.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to try to win a shootout because I just think Mount Carmel's offense, I think, is as good as anybody's in District 4 right now. I know Southern held them to 7, which surprised me, but they've got a lot of different ways to beat you. We talked about that passing game. And Jalen Delaney just catches so many balls and makes a lot of yards after the catch. And they've got a really good sophomore running back in Cooper Korecki. So yeah, Hughesville, they got to try to find a way to minimize the big plays and try to hit a few of their own to try to make it interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'd say pass protection is going to be number one for Hughesville. I mean, I think I've brought up this a few times, but like in one of their tougher matchups against the Losac, that was the defining. That was the difference. So if they're able to protect him, maybe they can keep it close.
Yeah. And you want to try to keep Blake Davis as healthy as possible going forward because down the stretch they have 4 tough games, but 4 games that they're a decided underdog against Mount Carmel. The rest of the way, those games are kind of more coin toss type of games. So that, there's a chance for them to try to make some hay down the stretch there. Mm-hmm. So I think if they can hold up, keep this one interesting and come out of it healthy. Excuse me. They'll be in a good spot going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like that Lewisburg matchup where, I mean, you don't win, but you keep it close, and I mean that's momentous. That gives you confidence moving forward.
Exactly. Warrior Run traveling to North Penn Mansfield. For the defenders, I think they want to show that they can get that offense going again after being shut out last week.
Yeah, they'll definitely be motivated, and this is a game a couple weeks ago I would have just circled as an easy Warrior Run win, but North Penn's gotten a lot better. They had a really nice win up at Athens on Saturday, so they're playing their defense has gotten a lot better. So this is a lot more interesting than I thought it would be a few weeks ago. But yeah, Warrior Run definitely is hoping to get that momentum going so that they can make a good stretch run.
Yeah, I mean, definitely this is a big game for them. The difference between going into that last stretch with confidence and going into it with that confidence shot. And you definitely want to pull off a win here.
I was gonna say, Mansfield. If you're Mansfield, you want to try to limit James Kiefer and try to hope you slow that passing came down.
Yeah, I mean, try to shut down Sam Hall for a second straight game, 100%. And I mean that would go a long way in helping them keep it close against a strong Warrior Run team.
Exactly.
It's an intriguing matchup with Sam Hall and Luke Krager from North Penn Mansfield. Krager's having a phenomenal season. He's right around 500 yards right now. So two receivers that are both on pace for 1,000-yard seasons and both play in the secondary, so they could be matched up against each other at times. So that'll be a fun individual battle to watch.
Yeah. Wellsboro heading to Athens this week. I think that'll be a tough one for Athens. I think going to Athens, will be tough to try to get a win there for Wellsboro.
Yeah, that's a long road. I mean, going all the way to Greece. Yeah, I mean. They played a great game against Kalinowski Valley. They almost had as many yards in that game as they had the first 4. And granted, they played some really good teams in that stretch. But I think the fact that North Penn beat Athens is encouraging for Wellsboro, and just the way they played against Cal Valley. Ryder Bowen ran wild. He had 301 yards. And Griffin Morrill's only a freshman at quarterback. He keeps developing. So, I think Athens is a favorite, but I think Wellsboro can keep this pretty competitive.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, they're coming off a very strong win. I think it was 43-8 against, 35 points.
Yeah.
I mean, like that, they have a lot of momentum, and, they pull off a win here, and that just bolsters it twofold, tenfold.
Mifflinburg at Milton this week. I think if you're Milton, you want to try to get the run game kind of reestablished a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they just hope they're healthier than last week. They were missing 6 guys, including Chris Doyle, their workhorse running back, and Chase Lytle have been playing really well at quarterback. He got hurt. The guy he replaced, Isaiah Minium, came back to play quarterback. So it's just a matter of who's ready to go for Milton at this point. When they're healthy, you think they're dangerous. And if they have Doyle back, that would certainly be a tremendous lift for them. And conversely, Mifflinburg has a great passing game, so their secondary is gonna have to cover really well.
Yeah, I mean, Mifflinburg, a very comparable team to Bloomsburg.
Yeah.
The record does not their 0-5 record does not speak for them. They have a lot of close games. I want to say they went toe to toe with Mount Carmel and
Montoursville and Loyalsock. It doesn't make them feel good, but they, I feel confident saying they're the best 0-5 team in the state.
Yeah.
4 losses by Hollidaysburg's undefeated. They lost by them 8, 2 by 1. Do some quick math here. It's 4 losses by 17 points. So, and 2 of them by 1 point.
Yeah,
and I think Hollidaysburg is like a top 25 team in Class 5A. If I'm
that's a really good team.
Just
They won districts 3 straight years, I think. So and they were right there with them too.
Yeah, just absurd 5-game stretch for them.
Central Mountain hosting Shikellamy, both looking for their first win. Central Mountain with that just a tough 76-0 loss to Shamokin. But I mean, honestly, if you're Central Mountain and Coach Travis Thompson, you kind of just have to be like, look, we have to put that one in the rear view mirror. We got thumped. Let's look ahead.
I remember the 2001 Patriots America's game. They had an ugly loss against Tampa Bay early in the season, and Bill Belichick dug a hole. And he was like, this is where this tape's going. He threw it in the trash, and he buried it. And he was like, it's done. It's behind us. I don't know if he's going to do the same thing, but I'm sure that's Central Mountains are taking a similar approach. And, this is a game that's there for the taking. Shikelamy's also 0-5. So, I think for Central Mountain, you're hoping that they've played some juggernauts this season already. You're hoping going against all those teams prepares you for Friday, and that they can get something going.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like one of the potential keys is you've got to feed Jake Weaver. He was a diamond within the rough of that 76-0 loss to Shamokin. So that could definitely help them pull off a win in a winnable matchup.
Yeah, and I mean for Central Mountain, obviously their schedule is not easy following this game. I think they have Montoursville. They end with Troy and
Jersey Shore.
And Troy put up 80 on Sayre, so that's not going to be. That's going to be.
Troy's a juggernaut.
Yeah, and Shore is Jersey Shore. So for Central Mountain, you kind of. I think they have to realistically think like, this is our chance to get this win and not go winless this year.
Yeah, because there's not too many games where I'm trying to remember who else they play other than Montoursville down the stretch, but this is the one.
It's not Mount Carmel, is it?
I don't think so. I hope not.
I hope not. Yeah, I was about to say,
This is the one they're looking at. That we got to get this one.
Let's in just quick math on Bucktail at Union / AC Valley. Just
AC Slater.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great if they had AC Slater as their mascot? Yeah.
Just his head on.
AC Slater, who somehow played basketball and wrestled at the same time in Saved by the Bell, because those seasons don't go up against each other or anything. Come on, Saved by the Bell, do better.
It's like with American Dad by Seth MacFarlane when he has Stan Smith's wrestling. He has the state record of 20 wins in a season, which is like
that's like December now.
Yeah. For Brant Hare, that's like 4 weekends.
Yeah.
But anyway, for Bucktail, obviously the team runs through Brody Pence, and like we were talking to Zach Powell, the Lock Haven Sports Center. He said Bucktail's down to just 15 kids right now, so
it's rough.
It's rough for them because you don't get that. I think part of their struggling is that you don't get the chance to get kids off the field to give them quick breathers for a bit because you have no subs to really do anything with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. That's why I admire. I mean, them every year. I mean, this, 15's pretty drastic, but I mean, they usually don't have many more than 15. It's usually, if they get low 20s, they're pretty excited. So,
Yeah.
But they keep fighting, and Brody Pence is having a monster season. He's over 1,000 total yards already, and that's only in 4 games. So, he gives them something great to build around each game, and got a lot of young players there that are getting some good experience. So this is they're an underdog in this one, but I think they're doing some good things, even though the record doesn't show it.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of just like in a scenario like that, you kind of just have to take the positives where they come. So I'd like to see them give this a good show, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Switching to college here with some quick hitters. Hilbert at Lycoming. For Lycoming, you want to kind of you get back on the winning side of things. Hilbert's 0-3. They've been outscored, I think, 170 something to 20 this year. So on paper, I think obviously Lycoming's a favorite to get a win here and bounce back.
Especially with them returning to Gerardi Stadium, I think that'll be huge for them after going on the road against Cortland and
Jon Gerardi Stadium.
Exactly. that's how big I am in the city.
yeah, basically, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, you're good. But yeah, I mean they've had 2 very tough road trips against a number 2 Cortland and then a Utica team that's won 19 games in the 2 seasons leading up to this. So, very winnable game for them, and I mean it would be if they're able to fix a lot of the mistakes they had against Utica, I think they go into conference play with momentum.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. But no, I think last year they got off to a rough start, and then they turned it around down the stretch run. So I think if they can get to 2-2, that would give them a nice boot because they'd be ahead of where they were last year.
By a long shot. Because I mean they started 0-5 last year, lost their conference opener against Wilkes, so they beat Hilbert. If they beat Hilbert, they'll go into that Wilkes matchup with momentum.
Yep. Lock Haven hosting Millersville, also 0-3. Millersville is. Lock Haven, though, two tough games against IUP in California where they were in it by just 1 score. Obviously, their defense has been playing well, keeping them in games.
Yeah, I mean they're I don't discount those losses at all. Indiana PA and Cal PA are both very solid teams. Mm-hmm. So I mean, just kind of similar to Lyco's, their scenario. They just have to alleviate some of the mistakes and keep building on what's been a very impressive start to the season.
Yeah.
It feels like they're right on the cusp. Last year they had a breakout season and their best season in a long time, and it just feels like they're like that program that's just like a breakthrough win away from really going on a run or something like that. That's just a vibe I get from their first couple. These 2 close losses. They're so close to being 3-0. So I feel like. I think the coach is doing a heck of a job in these last 2 years. So I think they win this one, and I think it sets up an interesting stretch run for them.
I was gonna say, I mean, Coach Dan Mulrooney really has them on the right pace to, like you said, kind of get them where. Like when I was there as a student, they only won, I believe, 3 games in the 4 years I was there, and we're in the midst of that 56.
I'm surprised it was that many, to be honest with you.
They didn't win after my sophomore year, after their season opener, I think. But so it's nice to see them actually being competitive in games and trying to turn the corner. And then the last game here, Bucknell at Lehigh. Bucknell's one of those teams I can never get a good read on. They look good one week, they lose the next. So they're at Lehigh this week, who's 3-1. So I think they're going to be in for a tough one against Lehigh.
Yeah. No, I mean they're I'd say definitely a tougher matchup than Marist. But I mean Bucknell, they're I think 2-1. They're doing pretty well.
2-2. Yeah.
Oh, 2-2. So I mean they it'll be interesting. I mean I think that's a coin flip for me personally when it comes to picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've made some nice. Like last year, I thought they got a lot better than the previous year, and it feels like they're off to a decent start this year. So, I think Bucknell is another one. Like Lock Haven, it's a team that's kind of on that bubble where if they could get a win, like if they could pull the upset against Lehigh, I think that would do wonders for them going forward. Mm-hmm. But that'll be easier said than done.
Yeah, and then last one to get in here, a quick hit on Illinois at Penn State. The Nittany Lions after that brutal 2-game stretch against Bowling Green and Kent State.
Yeah. You talking about battle tested?
I think this one is. I know Penn State's 9. I think Illinois is 19.
Yeah.
But I think Illinois can give them a game and be in this.
Yeah, I think that this is a very, very tough one to have for. I believe it's their whiteout. Is it their whiteout game, or are they on the road?
It is a 7 o'clock.
I think
game.
Franklin wants it. I don't think it's a whiteout, but Franklin said he wants it to be a whiteout type environment.
I gotcha. Yeah. So Illinois much more battle tested this year with wins over Kansas, who started off ranked, and then Nebraska, who was coming off a strong win against Colorado. So it's a tough one. I'm not sure who I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah. I'm picking Penn State by 3, but we had a lot of questions about him after the Bowling Green game, and still have a lot of questions because who cares? It was 56-0 against Kent. Kent State's awful, and they lost 2 quarterbacks, so they got even worse. You can't tell anything. And good for you, James Franklin. Good with 1 minute in the game, making sure you got that touchdown at the end of the game. Like Kent State hadn't been through enough already that game. He wonders why people don't like him. It's stuff like that.
Exactly.
Just take a knee. It's over.
The spread was 49 points, so I think
I don't know. Maybe he's trying to help out in that capacity.
I picked Penn State minus 49, so I'm kind of happy he did that.
I'm sure. Yeah, he probably did make a lot of people happy. Well, he probably made a lot of people mad too, though, that went the other way with it.
It's true.
But it's like, man, just let it. It's over.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Take a knee. Did you really flexing his muscles against Kent State? See how you do against Ohio State this year. Then you can flex your muscles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that'll do it.
So I forget what the question was, but I wanted to get that out there.
So that'll do it though for this week.
Big game, James.
For sport, your favorite coach next to Shanahan.
There's not enough time. I wanted to strangle him Sunday. I've been a Niners fan since 1983, and that's in the top 5 of most brutal regular season losses.
Okay,
and what a choker! For a guy that they say, it's amazing that people say he's a genius. He's an idiot, folks. He's a genius at losing the games that they should win. Anytime it's close, he's going to wet his pants and make sure the Niners lose.
Exactly.
I appreciate him letting Kyron score 3 times. That very much helped me in fantasy.
Yeah. If it's a close game and you have a fantasy offensive player against Kyle Shanahan team, there's a good chance he's going to do well because Shanahan's going to find a way to blow it. He is a piece of crap.
And with that, we'll leave you for sports talk this week. We'll be back next week with week 7.